My dad had only been dead for 3 days when the village chief came to our door to break off the engagement. In my previous life, my mother knelt to beg him, and I lived my whole life on my knees. My wife cheated on me, my son wasn't biologically mine, and the factory I'd spent half my life building up was snatched away by her brother. The moment I opened my eyes, I was back at the engagement cancellation scene in 1965. Before the village chief could finish speaking, I grabbed a cleaver and tucked it into my waistband. Break off the engagement? Fine, return the money. The sound of those 5 10 yuan notes hitting the ground was the first crisp sound after my rebirth. I'd been spineless my whole life. This time, I'm the one flipping the table. Summer of 1965, Huagua on the parallel world Blue Planet, Han family village on the outskirts of 49 City. I jolted upright from the bed, my head throbbing as if it were about to split open. Looking around, I saw an old newspaper pasted to the dim yellow earthen wall, and the front page headline read in bold: "Our country successfully test detonated its first atomic bomb." This newspaper left a deep impression on me. Back then, my dad was the production team leader, and he was the one who brought it home. I jumped out of bed and rushed into the other room. A broken table, an old-fashioned tea set, and a portrait of the great leader hanging on the wall. It was all straight out of the 50s and 60s. I was reborn? A little girl ran in and cried out in delight. "Brother, you're finally awake. You've been unconscious for 3 days. You scared us to death." I took a close look. Wasn't this my youngest sister, Zhang Xiaoyan? "Xiaoyan, is it really you?" I could hardly believe my own eyes. She said with a grin, "Brother, what's wrong with you? You had a fever and were bedridden for 3 days, babbling nonsense and asking for cold water. And now you're finally awake." I rubbed my brow, trying to calm myself. At last, I was sure. I really had been reborn. This year, I was 20 years old. It was also the year my father had just died of a sudden illness, and after running around taking care of everything, I collapsed from exhaustion. As soon as I was barely able to get out of bed, the village chief, Han Fugue, came to my house with his brother and proposed dissolving the engagement. When my father was alive, he was a production team leader, an honest and obedient man, and the village chief had thought well of me, so he betrothed his daughter Han Fong to me. We had only been engaged for half a year. The moment my father died and our pillar of support was gone, they immediately wanted to go back on it. My mother knelt and begged them, agreeing to every condition. After the wedding, we would immediately split households and live separately, without spending a single cent of their money. She even added another 30 yuan to the bride price. For the sake of my marriage, my mother agreed to everything. From then on, she lived separately with my 2 younger brothers and 1 younger sister. My elder sister's marriage was delayed too. Later, Han Fong's younger brother, Han Mingwu, even bullied my elder sister. And though my elder sister was such a beautiful woman, she ended up marrying a coward and lived in poverty all her life. My younger siblings never had enough to eat or enough clothes to wear. Sallow and skinny, they suffered endlessly. When I tried to secretly send them some grain, Han Fong would quarrel with me fiercely. Then, when I turned 50, I discovered that my first son wasn't biologically mine. Han Fong had cheated on me. I struggled through my whole life just to save up enough to build a small food factory, and during the divorce, Han Mingwu seized all of it. Thinking of this, I clenched my fists. Since heaven let me be reborn on this day, then I'm going to make everything right, protect my family, and make those who owe me pay in blood. If I remember correctly, the village chief and his elder brother should be coming to the door soon. This time, I will never let my mother kneel and beg them. It's not you who are breaking off the engagement. I'm the one who doesn't want that piece of trash from your family anymore. Just as I was thinking this, my mother came back from work, set down her farm tools, and ran into the room. Seeing that I could get out of bed, she said happily, "Child, you're finally awake. You must be hungry, right? I'll make food right away." A burst of noisy voices came from the courtyard. Sure enough, Han Fugue came into the house with his brother Han Fuyo. My mother greeted them with a forced smile. "Village chief, what brings you here at midday?" Han Fuyo sat down and said hypocritically, "Younger brother's wife. You see, your man has only been gone for 3 days. Logically, we shouldn't have come. But our Han Fong has never suffered since childhood. She's never even worked in the fields. Now that the man of your family is gone, and there are still 3 little ones below, life is going to be too hard. If Han Fong marries Wei Dong, it'd be like jumping into a pit of fire. We think the 2 kids aren't suitable for each other, so let's call off the engagement." My mother's face changed drastically, and her legs went weak as she was about to kneel. I grabbed her at once. "Mom, you mustn't kneel. Since they're asking to break off the engagement, then break it off. They just need to return our betrothal money. My mother panicked and shoved me away. You beast. I'm the one who has the final say in this family. This marriage must happen. I understood my mother's dilemma. She was afraid the Han family would renege on those 50 yuan in betrothal money. The Han family is a big clan in the village, with strength in numbers. My dad had just passed, and she only wanted a few quiet days. But then this happened. Han Fuyo slyly kicked the ball to me. Zhang Weidong. You're the one who wants to break off the engagement, right? I straightened my chest. That's right. I'm the one who wants to break it off. But you brought it up first, so the betrothal money must be returned. My mother flung away my hand and slapped me twice across the face. Zhang Xiaoyan was so frightened that she burst into loud tears. Seeing our mother and son fighting in a heap, Han Fugue and Han Fuyo hypocritically came up to break it up. My mother continued kneeling and pleading. Aren't you worried Han Fong will suffer if she marries over? I'll split the family with Weidong right now. They'll live separately from now on, and I won't take a single cent. Isn't that enough? I shouted at my mother. Mom, how exhausting would it be for you to raise my younger brother and sister by yourself? How could I live separately on my own? No way, the engagement must be broken off. Han Fugue and Han Fuyo exchanged a glance. Realizing I was dead set on breaking off the engagement, they immediately changed their tune. Sister-in-law, the condition you mentioned can be discussed. The engagement doesn't necessarily have to be called off. But now it's not that we want to break it off. It's your Weidong who doesn't think much of our daughter. That's right. I'm the one who wants to break off the engagement. But you brought it up first, so the money must be returned. My mother cried out, Zhang Weidong, if you dare break off the engagement today, I'll die right in front of you. I was anxious, and suddenly an idea came to me. I walked to my mother's ear and whispered, Mom, if I break off the engagement with Han Fong, I guarantee I'll find a wife right away. My mother didn't believe me. Is finding a wife that easy? Did you forget Lu Rushue from the east end of the village? Back then I said I liked her, but you disliked the fact that her parents were disabled and that she had a foolish older brother, thinking the burden would be too heavy. If it works out with her, the bride price will definitely be lower, and then won't you have a daughter-in-law? And also, Mom, Han Fong is a broken shoe. My mother's eyes went wide. What? You mustn't talk nonsense. She lowered her head and thought it over for a while, feeling that what I said made some sense. Seeing our mother and son whispering to each other and my mother's attitude softening, Han Fugue and Han Fuyo quickly said, Sister-in-law, that idea of splitting the family is not bad. There's no need to break off the engagement. I let out a cold laugh. You say break it off and it's broken off? You say don't break it off and it isn't? Do your words count for nothing but farts? Since you brought it up first, then it's over. It's too late to say anything now. The two of them looked at each other. They hadn't expected honest, meek Zhang Chuanbao to have such a tough son. Han Fugue cleared his throat. Weidong, we never meant to break off the engagement. We just wanted you to split from the family and live separately. You misunderstood. Give us a straight answer now. What exactly do you want? I itched to slap them both. Same as before. A real man stands by his word. You were the ones in the wrong who first proposed breaking off the engagement. I agree. Now return the 50 yuan. Han Fugue pretended not to care. Since you're dead set on it, then let's break it off. We'll give you the money in a few days. I stretched out my hand to stop him. I'm going with you to get it right now. I ran to the kitchen and pulled out the kitchen knife, tucking it into my waistband. My mother was so frightened her heart leapt to her throat. What are you taking a kitchen knife for? Mom, don't be scared. I'm just carrying it to scare them a little, so they'll hand over the money more readily. Besides, Han Mingwu is unreasonable, so I need to be on guard against him. My mother was worried, so the two of us went together to the village chief's house. The moment we walked in, I felt something was off. Han Fuyo had gathered all the clan members, and the room was packed with members of the Han family glaring at us like tigers watching their prey. Seeing this scene, my mother lost her nerve, and her voice grew smaller and smaller. Everyone's here. The village chief wants to break off the engagement, and we've come to ask for the 50 yuan betrothal money back. Han Fugue burst out laughing. Sister-in-law, you've misunderstood. I just wanted them to set up a separate household after they got married. You already agreed. So if the engagement isn't called off, wouldn't that make everyone happy? My mother was soft-hearted and said quietly, Son, how about we listen to the village chief? I let out a cold laugh. Uncle Han, this is the last time I'll call you Uncle Han. Those lies of yours may fool my mother, but they won't fool me. The moment you came in, you said you wanted to break off the engagement. When you saw that I agreed, you turned around and said it wasn't off after all. You're just trying to keep those 50 yuan. In front of all these elders and folks here, isn't that so? The Han family members started whispering among themselves. Someone said softly, If that's the case, then our Han family was in the wrong first. Someone else chimed in. Yeah, isn't that just bullying people? Han Fugue couldn't keep up appearances anymore, his face flushing red and then white. Nephew, you've misunderstood. It's all a misunderstanding. It's getting late. So how about you stay and have something to eat? My patience had reached its limit. I whipped out the kitchen knife with a whoosh and waved it in the air. Han Fugue, don't push people too far. You're the one who first proposed breaking off the engagement. And now you're saying it's not off after all. You're just trying to keep my 50 yuan. Pay me back right now, or I'll kill you here today. Han Fugue's heart skipped a beat. This kid was clearly not someone to be trifled with. While he was hesitating over whether to return the money, his son Han Mingwu rushed in from the yard with a stick he had found. Zhang Weidong, you beast. How dare you come to my house and run wild? You don't want my sister anymore. So what right do you have to ask for your money back? Get out now, or I'll smash you to death with one blow. I looked at him with contempt. Can't you understand plain human speech? Your father was the one who first proposed breaking off the engagement. I wasn't the one who rejected your sister first. Get lost. This isn't your place to speak. Relying on his height and strength, Han Mingwu swung the stick at me. I dodged to the side and lashed out with a kick to his stomach, sending him flying with a single kick. Then I rushed forward, pinned him under my foot, and raised the kitchen knife as I shouted at Han Fugue. Han Fugue, are you giving me the money or not? If you don't, I'll chop this bastard to death. Han Fugue did keep his composure, knowing his wife would definitely be distressed. Sure enough, when his mother saw her son pinned under my foot, she shrieked like a pig being slaughtered. Don't do it. Please don't do it. I'll give you the money right away. Trembling, she pulled out 5 10-yuan notes. She didn't dare hand them to me directly and just let them flutter to the ground. My mother hurried over and picked up the 50 yuan. Just then, my sister Zhang Xiaohong and my best friend Li Ergu also came running over. Li Ergu asked with concern, Weidong, are you okay? I smiled faintly. Look at this piece of trash under my foot. I sent him flying with one kick. I'm fine. Let's go home. We left the village chief's house. At our gate, I invited Li Ergu. You haven't eaten yet, have you? Come eat at my place. He patted his belly and said with a smile, when I'm full alone, the whole family doesn't go hungry. I already ate. You all go back and eat. After saying that, he turned and left. Looking at his weak, powerless back, I knew he definitely hadn't eaten. This kid was a real stand-up guy. In my previous life, he truly gave me his whole heart. If I make it big in this life, I'll definitely make sure he gets his time in the sun too. As I walked into the yard, a choking smell of wood smoke hit me. In the kitchen, Zhang Xiaoyan kept feeding firewood into the stove, while the one cooking was my second younger brother, Zhang Weiqiang, 11 years old this year, stirring a pot of wild vegetable and corn mush. My younger brother Zhang Weijun is 16 and boards at school in town, attending the 3rd year of junior high. My sister walked over to the stove and took one look, then couldn't help but smile bitterly. You silly boy, it's already fully cooked. Stop burning it and go wash your hands to get ready for dinner. She briskly carried the pot into the house and served everyone a bowl. In the middle of the table was a plate of shredded pickled vegetables. That was today's dish. I picked up that bowl of wild vegetable mush, and my stomach twitched. It was really hard to swallow. In my previous life, I was used to delicacies, but I never expected that after being reborn I'd be back to chewing coarse buns and eating wild greens. But I was just too hungry. Seeing everyone eating so heartily, I lowered my head and slowly ate this first meal after being reborn. After the meal, my sister gathered the bowls and chopsticks to wash them. Zhang Weiqiang slung his school bag over his back and ran out. Kids were like that back then. They'd play in the fields for a while after eating before going to school. Zhang Xiaoyan hasn't started school yet. She won't be old enough until next year. I looked over everything in the yard. The small courtyard from 50 or 60 years ago felt both familiar and strange. Wanting to go outside the village to see the pond and the old willow tree, I told Mom I was going out for a walk. My mom had worked all morning and was tired, so she wanted to take a nap at noon. She told me my body hadn't fully recovered yet and not to go far. I said to my sister, Sis, starting this afternoon, don't go out to gather wild vegetables anymore. Just stay home, cook, look after Xiaoyan, and help Mom wash some clothes. My sister was puzzled. If we don't go gather wild vegetables, what are we supposed to eat? We don't have enough grain. I'll take care of food and drink from now on. You have to trust me. We've fallen out with the village chief's family, so we have to be on guard against them. Han Mingwu is no good. He's capable of anything. Promise me you won't go out. My sister said helplessly, if I don't go gather wild vegetables, the whole family will go hungry. Looking into her eyes, I said word by word, Sis, you must listen to me. I'll take care of the food. I don't want you to get hurt. As I spoke, my eyes grew a little moist. My sister noticed something was different about me and understood what I meant. She suddenly felt that her little brother wasn't the same as before. But seeing how I looked, she couldn't bear to make me feel bad, so she nodded and agreed. Okay, I promise you. I won't go out for the next few days. I chuckled, walked out the door, and came to the pond outside the village. The pond was 5 or 6 mu in size, its water so clear you could see the bottom. Lotus flowers grew there, red and white, in full bloom, very beautiful. The old willow tree, so thick it would take 2 people to embrace it, drooped its willow branches, reflected on the water's surface, full of poetic charm. At high noon, there wasn't a single person outside the village. I sat under the old willow tree, staring blankly at the water. I had actually been reborn. It was truly unbelievable. Looking at everything familiar before me and listening to the comforting cicadas, my thoughts ran wild. Suddenly, there was a ding in my head. Host, the money-making reward points system has finished loading. Would you like to install it now? I was both shocked and delighted. In the web novels I read in my previous life, all those people who were reborn or transmigrated had systems. Once activated, they could cut down heaven, earth, and even the air itself, becoming invincible, with money pouring in faster than they could spend it, and beauties all fighting to throw themselves into their arms. Anyway, they were all incredibly powerful. I never thought I'd have a system too. This is the rhythm of defying the heavens. Does this mean I, Zhang Weidong, am going to rise up in this life? The moment Zhang Weidong heard there was a system, what was there to wait for? Of course he had to load it immediately. Zhang Weidong stood up excitedly and glanced around him. There wasn't a single person around, so he immediately whispered, "Load. Load right away." As soon as Zhang Weidong finished speaking, he heard a buzzing sound in his head. 10 minutes later, that pleasant voice sounded again. "Congratulations, host. The money-making reward points system has finished loading. Next, let me introduce the functions of this system. The system comes with a shop and a portable storage space. The items in the shop change according to the era the host is in. The current items include grain, meat, eggs, oil, salt, and other basic necessities of life. If the host wants to obtain these items, they must first have points. Only if the host works hard to make money in real life will the system randomly generate points. To put it bluntly, this system is meant to encourage the host to work hard to make money. When you make money, the system will reward you with items from the shop. The more money you make, the more points the system will randomly generate, and you can use your points to exchange for items in the shop. In other words, if you earn 1 yuan in real life, then after adding the system's rewards, it is equivalent to earning 2 yuan. In addition, it should be noted that if the host exchanges points for goods from the system shop, the money obtained from selling them cannot generate corresponding points. In other words, only money that the host earns through hard work in real life can generate points. In order to help the host survive in this materially impoverished era, the host has now been granted a special ability, X-ray vision. When the host needs to search for something, the X-ray vision will activate on its own, completely following the host's will, consciously cooperating with the host's actions. There is no need for those trivial steps of turning it on and off. That is all for now. Congratulations on being reborn, host. I hope you can live brilliantly and be your true self. The system had finally finished its introduction. Zhang Weidong thought, how exactly do I check what's inside this system? As he was thinking this, a panel appeared in his mind. It clearly read, Money Earning Reward Points System, Host Zhang Weidong Age, 20 years old current points. 0 System Shop. This panel was quite simple. Zhang Weidong focused his mind on the system shop again, wondering what was inside now. As he thought this, a place like a supply and marketing cooperative appeared in his mind. It was now filled with goods, white flour and cornmeal. There were also rows of pork, beef, and mutton, and baskets full of eggs. Zhang Weidong's eyes widened like saucers. He really wanted to take these things out and hurry home to cook right away. Looking more carefully, he saw that there was a small sign hanging next to each item. For example, next to the eggs it said 1 point for 5 eggs. Next to the pork it said 1 point for 2 liang. Zhang Weidong silently said in his heart, "Give me 2 liang of pork." But the system did not react at all. He understood in his heart that as long as he had no points, he could not use any of these things for the time being. The top priority now was to make money. Once he made money, the shop would generate points. Then the things inside could be taken out and used. Right. Make money. Make money immediately. Earning 1 yuan is equivalent to earning 2 yuan. This system is really something, very reliable. But in the 1960s, making money was no easy matter. Everyone worked the land from dawn to dusk, all earning those pitifully small work points in the fields. And even after a whole year, they still could not fill their stomachs. In his previous life, Zhang Weidong had honestly earned work points to support his family, eating coarse buns and pickles all the way into the 1980s. It wasn't until 1978, after reform and opening up, that he slowly started doing a little business and began making money. But now things were different. He had the system, and he also had X-ray vision. The items in the system shop made him drool with desire. He wanted to eat right now, so he should make money. He had to make money immediately. He couldn't wait until 1978 anymore. The more he thought about it, the more excited he became, and his eyes turned toward the pond. The pond was 2 or 3 meters deep, and the water was very clear. The fish and shrimp inside were all wild. Zhang Weidong suddenly had an idea. If he caught the fish and shrimp in there and sold them, he should be able to get some money. Thinking this, he began using his gaze to search for fish and shrimp in the pond. He suddenly discovered that his eyes could see all the way to the bottom of the lake. He saw several big carp weighing 4 or 5 gene slowly swimming along the bottom. How amazing! These X-ray eyes are truly amazing. Sure enough, they work according to his will. He greedily stared at the few big carp swimming freely at the bottom of the lake. How could he catch them? If he jumped in now, they would dart away at once. If only he had a big dip net. He could pinpoint the fish's position and scoop them up. It seemed that the fish at the bottom of the lake were impossible to get with his bare hands for the time being. Zhang Weidong shifted his gaze toward beneath the old willow tree again. He knew that there were often eel burrows along the bank under the old willow tree. If he could spot some eels, he could just reach in and pull them out, which would be easier than catching the fish at the bottom of the lake. Thinking this, he began to stroll along the pond bank. His gaze focused on the roots of the old willow tree. Under the first old willow tree, there was a burrow, but inside were only a few small crabs crouching there. Zhang Weidong smiled. These crabs were a bit small, so he decided not to catch them for now. He kept walking forward. At the second old willow tree, there was nothing underneath. When he reached the fifth old willow tree, Zhang Weidong's eyes widened. There was a very large burrow underneath, and inside were 5 or 6 fat eels. Perhaps because of the midday heat, the 5 eels all seemed to be taking a nap. Zhang Weidong was so excited his heart was in his throat. If he could catch these 5 eels and sell them in a restaurant in town or at the county seat, that would be a tidy little sum. With that money, he could buy grain. Most importantly, the system would generate the corresponding points. Then he would be able to take items from the system store. Wonderful, just wonderful. The more Zhang Weidong thought about it, the more excited he became. But no matter how excited he was, he first had to catch these eels. He began to calm down and observe the eel burrow. He discovered that this eel burrow actually had 3 holes for swimming in and out. These creatures were quite cunning too. As long as there was any trouble at one hole, they would immediately escape through the other holes. Zhang Weidong decided to find some grass first and plug up the 3 holes. Then he would reach into this big hole and catch them. This method was good. This method was brilliant. The 5 or 6 eels would have to be caught one by one. They had a slimy layer on their bodies and were extremely slippery. After catching them, it would be best to put them in a bucket. After settling on his plan, Zhang Weidong immediately left the willow tree and went home first to get a wooden bucket. Zhang Weidong jogged all the way home, took a wooden bucket, and ran back. Then he pulled up a lot of grass nearby. He bundled the grass into clumps, making 3 clumps in total. Holding the clumps of grass, he tiptoed quietly to the pond below that willow tree. Then he quickly stuffed the clumps of grass into those holes. Haha, now you eels have nowhere to escape. Zhang Weidong tightly plugged the 3 eel holes with the 3 clumps of grass. Then he slowly moved aside the grass at the largest hole and reached one hand inside. The hole was quite deep. Finally, one eel woke up and tried to rush out, but because the opening was blocked with grass, the eel didn't get away. Zhang Weidong grabbed it first with one hand. He clutched the eel's head tightly. The eel struggled desperately. With his other hand, he shoved that clump of grass farther in with force, then pulled out the hand that was holding the eel. This eel weighed nearly 2 gene. Zhang Weidong quickly stood up and threw it into the bucket beside him. Then he picked up the bucket and filled it with half a bucket of water from the pond. He let out a long breath and smiled knowingly, then repeated the same method, stuffing each eel into the bundle of grass as soon as he caught it. In the end, big and small, he actually caught 6 eels. Those 6 eels weighed 7 or 8 gene in total. Looking at the lively, wriggling eels in the bucket, Zhang Weidong was overjoyed. This was money. Without stopping, he continued searching along the edge of the pond. By the time it got dark, he had found 5 more eel nests. In total, He caught more than 30 eels of all sizes. They filled more than half a bucket, weighing a full 30 or 40 jing. Looking at this heavy bucket of eels, Zhang Weidong could hardly believe his own eyes. Having X-ray vision was just too convenient. If he hadn't observed carefully in advance and had rashly reached in to grab them, the chances of success would have been far too low. Now with the boost of X-ray vision, catching them was as easy as taking something right into his hand. Awesome, really awesome. Some villagers passing by saw Zhang Weidong catching swamp eels. They all ran over to watch. When they saw that Zhang Weidong had caught half a bucket of swamp eels, their eyes turned red with envy. Everyone was eager to try, and they all jumped into the pond and began searching along its edge. Then a man in his 30s or 40s shouted, "There's an eel here. I almost caught it." An old man also sighed and shouted, "I almost caught one too." In short, everyone was just a little short of success, but in the end none of them caught anything. They ran over to Zhang Weidong again and asked in confusion, "How did you catch so many eels?" Zhang Weidong chuckled and told a lie. Putting on a mysterious air, he said, "When it comes to catching eels, you have to do it at noon. That's when they're taking their midday nap, so they're easier to catch." The 60-year-old man looked skeptical. "Weidong, I've lived more than 60 years, and I've never heard of eels taking a nap at noon. Don't fool me." Zhang Weidong chuckled again. "How would I dare fool you, elder? How about this? Why don't I give you one?" The old man smiled awkwardly and said, "How could I accept that? One eel is worth a whole meal. Right now no one has any grain to eat. You caught so many eels, you could eat for several days. Your family has so many children, I don't want yours. Hurry home and let your mother be happy too." After the old man said that, Zhang Weidong really did feel embarrassed to just leave like that. He grabbed an eel from the bucket and stuffed it into the old man's hands. Then he carried the half bucket of eels home in high spirits. As soon as he entered the house, Zhang Weidong happily shouted, "Mom, sis, come take a look. I caught a lot of eels." At Zhang Weidong's shout, his mother, his sister, and Xiaoyan all ran over. They craned their necks to look into the bucket. "Oh wow, so many fish." Zhang Xiaohong looked unconvinced. "Little brother, what did you use to catch them?" Zhang Weidong smiled smugly. Heaven's secrets must not be revealed. "Anyway, tonight we have fish to eat. We don't have to eat wild vegetables anymore." Zhang Xiaoyan hopped up and down excitedly on the ground, shouting happily as she jumped. "Oh, we get to eat fish tonight. We get to eat fish tonight." Zhang Weidong's mother was also very happy. This boy Weidong is really something. Not having to eat wild vegetables, that's like a dream. "Can you catch fish every day?" Zhang Weidong said seriously. "Tonight we'll stew a few of these fish, and tomorrow I'll take the rest out to sell. After I sell them, I'll buy some grain. If we have grain to eat, then of course we won't need to eat wild vegetables." Zhang Weidong's mother asked in confusion, "Sell them? Where are you going to sell them?" Zhang Weidong said seriously, "In the town or in the county seat, either is fine. The county seat is best. There are more restaurants there, so they'll be easier to sell." Zhang Weidong's mother glanced at Zhang Xiaohong and smiled with relief. Looking at Zhang Xiaohong, she said, "If we really can sell them, that truly would be a good idea. Then you wouldn't have to go gather wild vegetables anymore." As everyone chatted, Zhang Weidong took out the kitchen knife in the kitchen and started cleaning the eels. Out of the more than 40 eels, he took out 5. There were still more than 30 left in the bucket. "Tomorrow we'll go to the county seat to sell them. Those 30-odd eels will turn into money." After Zhang Weidong finished cleaning the eels, Zhang Xiaohong took them over. "Give them to me, little brother. You all just wait to eat." Zhang Xiaohong busied herself in the kitchen for a while. Before long, the aroma of eel drifted out of the crude kitchen. Although no seasonings were added, and no oil either, only a few grains of salt were put in. But the smell of the eel still made everyone's mouths water. No one could remember how long it had been since they had eaten meat. The eel was finally stewed through. 5 people, 1 fish each. Zhang Xiaoyan picked up a bite of fish and stuffed it into her mouth at once, shouting with her mouth full, "It's so delicious." She turned her head and asked Zhang Weiqiang, "Third brother, is it good?" Zhang Weiqiang's mouth was also full of fish. He said loudly, "Good, really good." Everyone ate and chatted at the same time. Zhang Weidong's mother sighed. If catching some fish and shrimp can really be sold for money, that's also a good way. Of the 50 yuan the Han family returned today, we only have 20 yuan left. Zhang Weidong raised his head and asked, "Mom, did second uncle and third uncle take their money back?" Zhang Weidong's mother glanced at him and said, "When you went to catch fish this afternoon, your second aunt and third aunt heard that we had gotten the money back. So the 2 of them came together to ask for their money. They said the money they lent us had all been borrowed from their own families, and now their families needed money. so they came to collect it. Sigh, your father has only been gone a few days, and they're already afraid we won't be able to pay them back. That's the way of the world. Zhang Weidong lowered his head, picked up a piece of meat, put it into his mouth, and chewed slowly. He smiled bitterly to himself. In his previous life, his second uncle and third uncle hadn't treated his family very well either. And now, with his father dead, they immediately asked for back the money they had lent them. How fickle human feelings are, how cold the world can be. In this world, you can only rely on yourself. No one else can be depended on. Zhang Xiaohong also sighed and said, them asking for money. I'm not that angry about it, since we did borrow it from them after all. What angered me most was that at noon, when you and little brother went to the village chief's house to ask for this money, I was afraid you'd get into a fight and end up at a disadvantage. So I went to find second uncle and third uncle and asked them to go take a look. But as soon as those two heard it was the village chief's house, they both shrank back and neither dared to go. Then I went to find Weidong's friends Li Ergu and Wu Huawen. Li Ergu was quite loyal and came with me right away. But Wu Huawen said his stomach hurt and made excuses not to go. Sigh. Zhang Weidong sighed. In his previous life, Wu Huawen had been a two-faced bastard. What a waste that he had grown up with him. Just as everyone was eating fish and chatting, they heard a burst of talking in the courtyard. It was an old woman's voice. I say, Feng, I heard Weidong caught a bucket of fish. This old woman waited at home for half the day, so why hasn't a single one been sent over to me? Feng was the name of Zhang Weidong's mother. The moment they heard the voice, they knew it was Zhang Weidong's grandmother. As she spoke, the old lady walked into the room. Zhang Weidong's mother hurriedly stood up. Oh, you've come, Mom. Look, I've been so busy cooking that I forgot to send two over to you. I'll have Weidong pick out two big ones right now. Have him take them over to you. Tomorrow you can cook them yourself. The meat is quite tender. Zhang Weidong's grandma curled her lip, still looking displeased. She let out a sigh. Alas, when my Chuanbao was alive, whenever there was something good to eat, he always thought of me first. Fine, let's not say any more now. Pick out two big ones for me. Take two over to your second uncle and third uncle too, so they can satisfy their craving as well. These days no family gets enough to eat, so let them have a taste of meat too. As soon as the old lady finished speaking, two more children ran in. Zhang Weidong took a look. One was Zhang Weibing, the third boy from his second uncle's family. The other was Zhang Weiming, the second boy from his third uncle's family. These two little fellows were also in their early teens. Well then, no wonder it had sounded like several people talking in the yard just now. So this whole family had planned it out and come to ask for some fish. Zhang Weibing and Zhang Weiming were fairly polite. They called out Grandma and Auntie, then waited expectantly for the fish. Zhang Weidong's grandma said with a smile, what perfect timing. Your auntie was just thinking of taking fish over to you, and then you two showed up. Perfect. Have your brother Weidong string two for you as well. You two go pull a few willow twigs from the willow tree in the yard. Weidong, where are your fish? Hurry up and take them out, and string two for each of us. Zhang Weidong slowly got to his feet. Giving Grandma two fish was only right, after all. Although his impression of this grandma was neither especially good nor bad. In his previous life, this grandma had been a bit partial. His second aunt and third aunt were both the sharp-tongued type who never suffered any loss. And his own mother was kind-hearted and soft-natured. So this grandma always dared to say anything in front of his mother and never treated her with much respect. So Zhang Weidong couldn't have a very good impression of his grandma either. Zhang Weibing and Zhang Weiming quickly snapped off some willow twigs and ran back into the room. Zhang Weidong carried over that half bucket of fish. Then he threaded two eels onto a twig and handed them to Grandma, forcing a smile. Grandma, these are for you. The old lady took them and looked them over in her hands from side to side. These fish are really big. They must be delicious. Weidong, you've really got it. Zhang Weidong then picked out two slightly smaller fish and threaded them onto willow twigs, handing one to Zhang Weiming and the other to Zhang Weibing. The moment Zhang Weidong's grandma saw that, she became unhappy. Hey Weidong, what's this about? Didn't we say two each? Zhang Weidong stammered. These fish. I'm going to sell them tomorrow. Author's note. This grandma got better later and became genuinely devoted to Zhang Weidong's family. Please read the latest chapters. Zhang Weidong's grandma said dismissively, if you give them two each, can't you just go catch more tomorrow? Zhang Weidong stood there with his head lowered, saying nothing. Just then, the second aunt and third aunt ran into the room from the yard. Both of them looked sullen and unhappy. Zhang Weidong instantly understood. The second aunt and third aunt had come together with Grandma. They were too embarrassed to come in and ask for fish themselves, so they had the two children follow Grandma inside. The two of them were in the yard listening to what was going on. When they finally heard that each of their families would get only one fish, they couldn't hold back anymore and ran into the room. The second aunt had an even worse temper than the third aunt. She snatched the eel from Zhang Weibing's hand and slammed it to the ground with a smack. Cursing under her breath, she said, "What's so good about this lousy fish? Tomorrow we'll have your dad catch some himself. We don't want his. Come on, get moving. Stop making a spectacle of yourself here. If you don't eat this fish, are you going to die of craving?" As she spoke, she kept scolding and even kicked Zhang Weibing in the backside. Zhang Weibing immediately burst into loud sobs, crying out through his tears, "I want fish. I want fish. I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving." The second aunt dragged Zhang Weibing away from there. Third aunt didn't hit Zhang Weiming, but just tugged on his ear and scolded, "You greedy little thing. Who told you his family had fish? Get the hell out of here. Will skipping one bite make you die of craving?" When Zhang Weidong's mother saw this, she thought, "What is this all about? You've come to my house to hit a child. Do you call this disciplining a child? This is a slap in our face." So Zhang Weidong's mother was a little angry too, but she didn't say anything. When Zhang Weidong's grandmother saw that both daughters-in-law had stormed off angrily, she got angry too and tossed the two eels in her hands back into the bucket, saying angrily, "Weidong, we're all one family. What's the harm in giving them two fish? See, now both your aunts are angry, aren't they? I don't want your fish either." After the old lady said that, she threw down the fish and left as well. After Zhang Weidong waited until they had gone far away, he smiled indifferently and said, "It's just as well that you don't want them. I still need to sell these fish for money tomorrow." He turned his head and saw that his mother didn't look well. So he comforted her, saying, "Don't be angry, Mom. Anyway, we didn't give them any, so the ones who are angry are them. This is how it'll be from now on. We're not indulging their bad habits anymore. If I want to give, I'll give. If I don't want to, I won't. Who are they putting on that long face for?" Zhang Xiaohong felt her younger brother made sense and also said to their mother, "Mom, my brother is right. The ones angry today are them. If this had happened before, they'd still be here cursing at us endlessly." Hearing that, Weidong's mother also felt that made sense, and she forced a slight smile onto her face, saying, "What kind of mess is this? We caught a few fish, and then a whole bunch of the family came to our house to hit a child." Zhang Xiaoyan pouted and said, "Serves those two to be beaten to death. Grandma never lets me eat any good things at all. She says I'm just a little girl and gives everything to those two lousy older brothers." When everyone heard Zhang Xiaoyan's words and saw her pouting angrily, they had all been upset just moments before, but now they all burst out laughing together. Zhang Weidong's mother said with a smile, "You little thing. We adults are the ones who are angry. What are you angry about?" Just like that, the unpleasantness quickly dissipated. Zhang Weidong cooled off in the yard for a while, knowing that he needed to get up early tomorrow, so he said to his mother, "I'm going to rest, Mom. Tomorrow morning, I need to get up early to sell the fish. I'll get up quietly in the morning, so you can just keep sleeping." After saying that, Zhang Weidong went back to his room to rest. After catching fish all afternoon, he was a bit tired too. Besides, so much had happened during the day that he quickly fell asleep. Early the next morning, when the sky was just beginning to brighten, Zhang Weidong woke up. He sprang out of bed in one motion and walked into the yard. Looking up at the sky, the summer night sky was still full of stars, each one brighter and clearer than the last. Zhang Weidong guessed it was only a little after 4 in the morning. He thought to himself that in just a short while it would be daylight. While it was still dark and the weather was cool, it was the perfect time to travel. Zhang Weidong picked up the half bucket of eels and listened carefully. The fish were all still alive, making bubbling sounds in the water. Carrying the fish, Zhang Weidong slowly opened the front gate. After walking out the gate, he left the 2 doors pulled to but not fully closed. Using his mind, he stored the half bucket of fish in his space, then strode off toward the outside of the village. At 20 years old, he simply didn't know what tired meant. Even though he hadn't eaten, he walked for more than an hour in one stretch and arrived at the town. The town was called Dayton Town. By now it was fully light, and people in town were already up and about. There was a supply and marketing cooperative in the town, which counted as a fairly conspicuous place. Several restaurants were very small. Clearly, the chances of selling these eels in this town were slim. Zhang Weidong did not stay long either. South of this town was the county seat, Qingyan County. From this town to Qingyan County, it was only a little over 10 li. Zhang Weidong hurried nonstop toward Qingyan County. By the time the sun rose, Zhang Weidong had arrived in Qingyan County. Zhang Weidong quickly found a restaurant, one that was considered quite grand in Qingyan County. The restaurant was called Qingyan Restaurant. The restaurant had already opened, and the waitstaff had begun cleaning and wiping the tables. Zhang Weidong found an unoccupied corner and took out the half bucket of eels from the space. Carrying the eels, he walked into the restaurant. A waitress in her 20s saw Zhang Weidong and walked up to him, asking, "Hello, what can I do for you?" Zhang Weidong smiled as well. "Is your restaurant manager here?" The waitress looked around. "He was just here a moment ago. Wait a second, I'll go call him." The waitress quickly brought over a man in his 40s or 50s, with slicked back hair and dressed formally. The man came up to Zhang Weidong and asked expressionlessly, "You were looking for me?" Zhang Weidong immediately put on a flattering smile. "Hello, manager. May I ask if you buy fish here?" The man looked Zhang Weidong up and down a few times, staring at him with some disbelief, and asked, "Fish? What kind of fish? Where did you get fish from?" Zhang Weidong lifted the bucket on the ground and said with a smile, "Take a look. They're all plump eels, caught by us in the pond back in our home village." The man lowered his head to look, and his eyes lit up. He looked up again, smiled, and said to Zhang Weidong, "How do you want to sell them?" Zhang Weidong smiled too. "Right now I don't know what price to ask. You can make an offer." The man's eyes shifted, and he smiled. "Pork is 0.5 yuan a gene now, and besides, in our small county town, people may not necessarily like eating eel, so how about it? Will you sell for 0.1 yuan? Zhang Weidong felt a little disappointed when he heard that. 0.1 yuan a gene. Wasn't that too cheap? Eels don't have many bones, and they're springy and especially delicious. How could no one eat them? So Zhang Weidong smiled awkwardly. "Manager, would you take them for 0.3 yuan? The man's face instantly went expressionless again. He waved his hand and said, 0.3 yuan is too expensive. How about you try asking around somewhere else?" Zhang Weidong had walked such a long way, and he was already drenched in sweat, and his stomach was growling with hunger. He really wanted to grit his teeth and sell them for 0.1 yuan. But then he thought about it. The more money he sold them for, the more rewards the system would give him. As the saying goes, compare goods at 3 shops. I can't sell so many fish off cheap just because I'm tired. That's right, no matter how tired I am, I can't sell them. I'll go outside and catch my breath first. Then I'll think about where to sell them. I have to sell them at a good price. Zhang Weidong smiled at the boss and said, "Then sorry to trouble you, manager. I'm leaving." Seeing that Zhang Weidong wanted to leave, the man immediately called out to stop him. "Hey, young comrade, don't go. How about 0.15 yuan? Will you sell?" Zhang Weidong turned back with a smile. 0.15 yuan is too low. 0.3 yuan at the very least. The man shook his head coldly. No, that's too expensive. If you really want to sell, 0.2 yuan. As soon as Zhang Weidong heard this, he knew the fish in his hands must be valuable. 0.2 yuan. He was probably pressing it down to the lowest price. If he went to a big place like Suzhou City, he might even be able to sell them for 0.5 or 0.6 yuan. Right, I'll go out and find a place to rest for a bit. I'm going to Suzhou City. Qingyan County is only a little over 10 li from Suzhou City. I'm going for it. The more money I make from selling them, the more worthwhile the exhaustion will be. Thinking this, Zhang Weidong carried the fish and walked toward the restaurant exit. The man called out to stop him again. "Hey, young man, why are you in such a hurry to leave? How about this? I'll go with your price, 30 cents. Zhang Weidong laughed inwardly. This man really wasn't honest at all, and besides, in the course of this bargaining, he learned that his eels should be quite valuable. So comparing prices at several places would never be a loss. I definitely can't sell these fish to this place. In a big city, I'm sure I can get a good price. Without even turning his head, Zhang Weidong left the restaurant. He found a cool place, squatted down, and caught his breath. He was already so hungry that his stomach was sticking to his back, but he had no money on him. So he could only endure it and wait until he got to Suzhou City and sold the fish. After resting enough, Zhang Weidong set off again and hurried towards Suzhou City. As he walked, he wiped the sweat from his forehead. He was tired, hungry, and thirsty. The buildings of Suzhou City were already faintly visible ahead. He let out a long breath and quickened his pace towards Suzhou City. At last, he had arrived in Suzhou City. Suzhou City in the 1960s presented a scene of thriving prosperity, with many newly built structures mixed in among the old, simple houses. It looked both full of vitality and steeped in an ancient historical atmosphere. Zhang Weidong looked over the surrounding buildings, the broad roads, and the crowds of people coming and going. He found a deserted corner and took out that half bucket of eels from his space. Carrying the fish, he began looking for a buyer. Before long, He arrived in front of a fairly large restaurant. The restaurant was called Nanxiang Restaurant. Carrying the half bucket of fish, Zhang Weidong pushed open the door of Nanxiang Restaurant. The manager of Nanxiang Restaurant was also a man in his 40s or 50s. He was wearing a white shirt, black coarse cloth trousers, and a pair of glasses. He was obviously very busy. He hurried over to Zhang Weidong and immediately craned his neck to look into the bucket. A bright smile instantly appeared on his face. He grabbed Zhang Weidong's hand. "Young comrade, I happen to need a batch of fish right now. I didn't expect you to bring so many fish. How do you want to sell them?" After thinking for a moment, Zhang Weidong slowly said, "Hello, manager. May I ask how I should address you? What is your surname?" The bespectacled man smiled and said, "My surname is Hu." After hearing this, Zhang Weidong smiled and said, "Hello, manager Hu. Then I'll speak frankly. Pork is 50 cents a gene now, and things like eels are relatively scarce. So I think the price should be a bit higher than pork. Do you think what I'm saying makes sense?" After hearing this, manager Hu nodded and said, "Since you've already said it, your fish really are good stuff, and I want them too. How about 70 cents for all of them?" When Zhang Weidong heard this, he was overjoyed. Great, 70 cents a gene was about the right price. This manager Hu counted as an honest man. If they could cooperate long-term, that would be even better. After thinking it over, Zhang Weidong said, "All right, let's do that, 70 cents a gene. Let's find a scale and weigh them." Manager Hu brought out a steel yard, a basin, and a straining net from the back. First, he weighed the fish together with the bucket of water. The total came to 42 gene. Then he scooped the fish into the basin and weighed the remaining bucket and water, which came to 11 gene. In the end, the eel's weight was calculated to be 31 gene. The final total came to 21 yuan and 70 cents. Zhang Weidong watched every step of manager Hu's process. Finally, he said, "Calculate it and see if this is the right amount. 21 yuan and 70 cents? Zhang Weidong did the math silently in his head. "That's right, that was the amount." He nodded and said, "Yes, that's right, 21 yuan and 70 cents. Manager Hu turned around, brought over 21 yuan and 70 cents, and handed it to Zhang Weidong. Only then did he ask with a smile, "Young man, where did you catch so many fish? I want the other fish too. You're from the countryside, right? Do you have wild rabbits, pheasants, and things like that there? If you have any of those things, sell them to me too. I'll definitely offer a higher price than anyone else." Hearing this, Zhang Weidong felt even happier. He said with a smile, "Our place is in the mountains, and the forests on the mountains are very dense. There are plenty of wild rabbits, pheasants, and things like that. I'll go back and take a look. If I can catch some, I'll bring them to you." As soon as manager Hu heard this, his face lit up with a big smile. That would really be wonderful. Pork is in very short supply right now, and when mealtime comes, our restaurant is always packed with customers. And what we're worried about now is ingredients. All right, it's a deal. If you have anything, bring it here to me. What should I call you, young comrade? Zhang Weidong said with a smile, "My name is Zhang Weidong." Manager Hu smiled. Good name. I may not necessarily be here when you come, so wait a moment. I'll introduce you to head chef Li, who is in charge of the kitchen. Manager Hu went to the back and called over head chef Li. Zhang Weidong immediately reached out and shook hands with head chef Li. Manager Hu said to head chef Li, "This young comrade brought us more than 30 gene of eels today, which really solved our urgent need. If he brings more goods next time, I may not be here. So you must give him a fair price and don't let the young comrade take a loss." Head chef Li looked at Zhang Weidong, nodded, and said, "All right, I understand, brother Hu." After exchanging a few more pleasantries, Zhang Weidong was about to leave when he suddenly thought of something. He smiled and asked Manager Hu, "Manager Hu, do you know if there's anywhere nearby that sells fishing gear?" Manager Hu replied with a smile, "There's a supply and marketing cooperative nearby, and it does have quite a full range of goods. But these days, you need coupons to buy anything, and you'd need industrial coupons to buy these supplies too. And industrial coupons are not easy to get right now." Zhang Weidong was a little disappointed, but unwilling to give up. He asked, "Then where can you get those industrial coupons?" Manager Hu said in a low voice, "Unless you go to the black market, where they resell all kinds of coupons. If you have time, go take a look." Zhang Weidong said gratefully, "Thank you very much, Manager Hu. Then I'll be going now." Just like that, Zhang Weidong left Nanxiang Restaurant with 21 yuan and 7 jiao in hand. After leaving Nanxiang Restaurant, Zhang Weidong wandered the streets of Suzhou City. He thought to himself that if he went to the black market tonight, then he would not be able to get back today. His mother at home would definitely be very worried about his safety, so he had to go back today. That meant the black market would have to wait until next time. Forget it, next time it is. As he touched the 21 yuan and 7 jiao in his pocket, the joy in his heart was beyond words. A victory right from the start. His very first deal had earned him so much money. In his previous life, he truly would not even have dared to imagine it. Thinking about it, how foolish he had been in his previous life. Carrying a hoe to the fields every day to dig at that yellow earth, earning only a few work points a day, and still not having enough to eat by the end of the year. Sigh, better not think so much about it. Wasn't that how most people lived in his previous life anyway? Since he had been reborn, he ought to live in the way of someone reborn. In this life, he absolutely had to make something of himself. Otherwise, he would be letting his parents down. And of course, he would also be letting down his own cheat system. As he passed a small stall selling xiaobing, the aroma came wafting toward him in waves. Zhang Weidong's stomach could not help but start growling. The sesame paste huashao of Sijio City had quite a history. When making the dough, they would spread a layer of sesame paste on it, so the baked huashao came out with a rich sesame aroma. It was as delicious as could be. Zhang Weidong steeled himself, took out one mao, and walked up to the xiaobing stall. He asked, "Hello, boss, how much is one sesame paste huashao?" The owner of the xiaobing shop busily worked with practiced hands while warmly replying, "Sesame paste huashao are 3 fen each, and minced meat huashao are 5 fen each." Zhang Weidong thought for a moment and said, "Then give me 3 sesame paste xiaobing." The boss quickly wrapped 3 sesame paste huashao in straw-colored wrapping paper, handed them to Zhang Weidong, and gave him 1 cent in change. Zhang Weidong found a quiet corner and took big bites of the sesame paste huashao. This sesame paste huashao truly lived up to its reputation, crispy and fragrant, absolutely delicious. Zhang Weidong devoured the huashao in his hands in no time. Even after eating 3 of them, he was only half full. He patted his stomach and decided that was enough for now and headed home. By the time Zhang Weidong got from Sijio City back to his hometown, it was already 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. He found a quiet little grove with no one around. As soon as he thought about the system panel, that familiar panel flashed into his mind. Under the points section, it showed that he had 217 points. Zhang Weidong was thrilled. This system was amazing. 217 points should be enough to exchange for a lot of things. He looked again at the system shop option, and a little shop like a supply and marketing cooperative appeared. The items inside were clearly displayed before his eyes. This time, Zhang Weidong carefully looked through everything in the shop. He was thinking about what he should exchange for first. First, 2 jin of pork, then 2 jin of eggs, 10 jin of white flour, 20 jin of cornmeal, 1 jin each of oil, salt, soy sauce, and vinegar, and 2 jin of peach pastries. After buying all this, he still had more than 100 points left. Zhang Weidong transferred the things he had exchanged from the shop into his personal space. He silently said space and entered his personal space. Sure enough, his personal space was filled with all the things exchanged from the system shop. After checking the items in his personal space, Zhang Weidong left the grove and hurried home. When he got back to his doorstep, he did not go straight inside. After looking around and seeing no one, he quickly took out the goods he had exchanged in the shop from his personal space. Only then did he carry the large and small bags, push open the gate, and the moment he entered, he proudly shouted, "Someone come quickly and help me carry these things. There's too much. I can't carry it all." Zhang Weidong's mother was not at home. She had probably gone to the fields again to earn work points. Zhang Xiaohong and Zhang Xiaoyan heard Zhang Weidong and came running over like a gust of wind. Zhang Xiaohong was both shocked and delighted, her voice full of disbelief. "Little brother, where did you get so many things? Am I dreaming?" Zhang Xiaoyan did not say much, but her eyes were sharp. She snatched the peach pastries from Zhang Weidong's hands and said, "Give them to me, brother. I'll help you hold them." The 3 siblings carried the large and small bags into the house. After entering, they placed everything they were holding on the big table. Only then did Zhang Xiaohong stare wide-eyed in delighted surprise at the table full of things: pork, eggs, soy sauce, soybean oil, and peach pastries. Zhang Xiaohong happily looked at the pork, then at the eggs, then at the peach pastries. After looking her fill, she rubbed her eyes again. "Little brother, where did you get so much money? To buy so many things? How much did you sell that half bucket of eels for exactly?" Before Zhang Weidong could answer, Zhang Xiaoyan had already torn open the paper wrapping of the peach pastries. She said a little angrily, "Brother, while you two are busy talking, who exactly were these peach pastries bought for?" Zhang Weidong and Zhang Xiaohong both laughed when they heard that. Zhang Weidong immediately said, "Go ahead and eat. These were bought for you." When Zhang Xiaoyan heard this, she picked up a big peach pastry, opened her mouth wide, and took a big bite. As she ate, she shouted, "This is so delicious, fragrant, and sweet. I've never eaten anything this tasty before." As Zhang Xiaoyan ate, she picked up 2 more peach pastries. She handed one to Zhang Weidong and one to Zhang Xiaohong. Zhang Xiaoyan had her mouth stuffed full of peach crisps, and her speech was a little unclear. "Wover, sister, you should eat too." Zhang Xiaohong patted Zhang Xiaoyan on the head with relief. "I won't eat yet. You go ahead, just eat slowly. No one's going to snatch it from you." Then Zhang Xiaohong turned and asked Zhang Weidong, "How much did those eels sell for exactly?" Zhang Weidong looked proud as he said slowly and clearly, 21 yuan and 7 jiao. Zhang Xiaohong could hardly believe her ears. Those eels were worth that much. How did I never think of catching these wild fish to sell for money? No one in our village has thought of doing this either. "Did you sell them in the county town?" he said with a smile. "I originally wanted to sell them in the county town, but they were offering too low a price. I figured there are a lot of restaurants in Sijio City, so I went to Sijio City." Zhang Xiaohong asked in surprise, "You went to Sijio City? What time did you get up this morning?" "Sijio City is more than 60 li from here." "Good for you. You must be exhausted, right?" Zhang Weidong smiled faintly. "Not tired. What's a little distance like that? We country folk have to walk wherever we go anyway, don't we?" Zhang Xiaohong laughed too. "That does make sense. Where's the money you earned? Let me see it. I don't believe you could make that much. If you really can make that much, then finding you a wife will be no problem." Zhang Weidong pulled 15 yuan out of his pocket and handed it to Zhang Xiaohong. He lied and said that he had spent more than 5 yuan on buying things. Zhang Xiaohong took the money in her hand and looked it over from side to side. There was no need to say how happy she was. Zhang Xiaohong was grinning from ear to ear as she said excitedly, "This is wonderful. If we give this money to Mom, won't she be overjoyed?" "All right. As long as catching fish and shrimp can earn money, then you don't need to go earn work points in the fields. Mom and I will go to the fields and earn the work points. Besides, now that you've earned another 15 yuan, we'll save it and soon find you a wife from one of the nearby villages. I heard Mom say that you think Lu Ruxue is pretty good. How about asking a matchmaker to go inquire?" Zhang Weidong smiled awkwardly and said, "We just called off the engagement with the village chief's family, and now we go ask about Lu Ruxue's family right away? What would people think of us? Let's wait a few days and talk about it later. But now that you mention Lu Ruxue, I've just remembered that I really should pay a visit to her house." Zhang Xiaohong giggled and asked, "You've got some nerve. What would you go ask them yourself?" Zhang Weidong laughed too. "If I go ask at her house, I'm not going to ask about finding a match, and I don't have any reason to ask that myself. Didn't Lu Ruxue's father, Old Man Lu, used to be a hunter? I figure he should have things like bows and arrows. Now that he broke a leg in a hunting accident, he should still have those things. I can go into the mountains and hunt some wild rabbits, pheasants, and the like. City people really like those things, and they can be exchanged for money too." Zhang Xiaohong nodded in understanding. "Oh, so that's what this is about. Then when are you going to his house?" Old Man Lu should also have gone to the fields to earn work points, though they record fewer points for him. Zhang Weidong thought for a moment and said, "After Mom gets back, Old Man Lu should be home too, and then I'll go to his house." As the brother and sister chatted, Weidong's mother also quickly returned from the fields. Naturally, when she saw the table full of food, she was so happy she was almost crying with joy. Zhang Xiaohong then stuffed the money Zhang Weidong had earned into her hand. This time, Zhang Weidong's mother was truly crying tears of joy. Her voice trembled as she said, "Weidong, did you really make this much money in one go? You mustn't lie to Mom. If this money came from an improper source, Mom wouldn't dare spend it. Your father has only been gone a few days, so you must stay on the right path." Zhang Weidong felt a lump in his throat and patted his chest as he said, "Mom, don't worry. This money is clean. It's from selling eels. Fish in the water and rabbits in the mountains are all good things. As long as you can catch them, someone will want them. The key is finding where to sell them." After the family chatted for a while, Zhang Weidong remembered that old Lu should have come home by now. He cut off a little over a jean of pork and said to his mother, "I'm going to old Lu's house to borrow his hunting gear, and we can't very well go borrow things empty-handed. So I cut off a jean of pork. His attitude toward us should be a little better that way." Zhang Weidong's mother smiled, looked at Zhang Xiaohong, and said, "Look at your brother. I really can't figure out whether he's going to borrow something or taking meat to show filial respect to his father-in-law." When Zhang Weidong's mother said that, Zhang Xiaohong and her mother both burst out laughing. Zhang Weidong blushed in embarrassment then smiled and said, "Mom, I really am going to borrow something. Once I borrow the hunting gear, I can go up the mountain to hunt wild rabbits and the like, and those can be exchanged for money too." After Zhang Weidong finished speaking, he cut off a gene of pork and then left home, arriving at old Lu's house at the east end of the village. Holding that piece of pork in his hand, Zhang Weidong soon arrived at Lu Rushue's home. He gently knocked on the gate. Then he heard Lu Rushue's crisp, pleasant voice from inside the house. "Who is it? Coming." As she spoke, Lu Rushue came to the door and opened it. When she opened the door and saw that it was Zhang Weidong, her expression froze for a moment, and then she noticed the piece of pork in Zhang Weidong's hand. Lu Rushue immediately broke into a lovely smile and asked with a smile, "Brother Weidong, what is this?" Zhang Weidong smiled too and asked, "Has my uncle come back from the fields yet?" Lu Rushue said with a smile, "He just got back a little while ago. Do you need something from him?" Zhang Weidong said with a smile, "I'm looking to have a chat with Uncle Lu. I wonder if it's convenient." After hearing that, Lu Rushue beamed. Of course. Please come in." Ever since Zhang Weidong and Han Feng got engaged, whenever Lu Rushue saw Zhang Weidong in the fields or on the street, she never spoke to him and always wore an icy expression. Now that Zhang Weidong and Han Feng had broken off their engagement, the whole village knew about it. Today, Zhang Weidong had even taken the initiative to come to her house to chat with her father, and Lu Rushue couldn't help feeling a little excited. Lu Rushue's family kept a hunting dog. It was a black wolf dog, a female, and behind it trailed a half-grown little black dog, only 3 or 4 months old. Zhang Weidong was a little puzzled. How come, after a whole litter of pups, only one was left? The wolf dog was so skinny now, it was practically skin and bones. Sigh, when people can't get enough to eat, of course the dogs can't either. If this dog were carefully raised, it would surely be very spirited. As soon as Zhang Weidong entered the gate, the wolf dog started barking and ran toward him. Frightened, Zhang Weidong quickly ducked behind Lu Rushue. Naturally, Lu Rushue was also afraid that the wolf dog might bite Zhang Weidong, so she instinctively shielded him with her body. At the same time, she kept scolding the wolf dog. "Stop barking. Hurry up and lie down. What are you making such a fuss for? Dad, what are you doing?" Hearing the dog barking in the courtyard, old Lu dragged his leg and, smoking his pipe, slowly walked out of the house. He also scolded the wolf dog. "Hurry up and lie down." The scolding from the two of them really worked. The wolf dog immediately drooped its tail and ran back to its kennel to lie down. Only then did Zhang Weidong smile and say to old Lu, "Uncle Lu, I came to have a chat with you. I wonder if I'm welcome." Old Lu saw the pork in Zhang Weidong's hand. Zhang Weidong said he had come to chat with me, but who knows what he's really up to. Zhang Weidong has broken off his engagement with the village chief's daughter. Could it be that he's set his sights on my daughter again? But it doesn't make sense for someone to come propose in person like this, does it? This kid doesn't seem like someone who can't count either. Then what is he here for? Anyway, no matter what he's here for, since he brought a piece of pork, it can't be a bad thing anyway. Thinking this, old Lu greeted him with a smile. "Weidong, what do you want to chat with a grumpy old man about?" "Welcome, of course you're welcome. Hurry inside and have a seat." Zhang Weidong followed old Lu into the house, sat down, and started chatting. Lu Rushue smilingly poured a bowl of plain boiled water and brought it to Zhang Weidong, saying, "Brother Weidong, have some water." Zhang Weidong steadied the bowl and smiled, nodding at Lu Rushue. He handed the meat in his hand to Lu Rushue and said, "Uncle Lu, have Sister Rushue fry up a plate of meat. How about the two of us chatting while we eat?" Old Lu was also a straightforward man. He burst out laughing and said, "It's been so long since I've had meat, and you actually brought such a big piece. As it happens, I still have half a gene of liquor, which I was saving for honored guests. Fine, since you're being so generous and brought such a big piece of meat, I have to bring out this half gene of liquor too. All right, daughter, hurry and go fry it. Put in a few more dried chilies. Weidong, when you were little, you even went hunting with me a few times. After you grew up, you never came by to hang out anymore. You haven't eaten the food your sister Rushue cooks either. Today you're really in luck. This girl cooks delicious food." Lu Rushue lowered her head and smiled shyly, then left with the piece of pork. Old Lu and Zhang Weidong began chatting. Zhang Weidong smiled and said, "Uncle Lu, going hunting with you when I was little was really so interesting, dangerous and exciting at the same time." Old Lu sighed and said, If I hadn't fallen off a cliff while chasing a black bear, this leg of mine wouldn't have been broken. Right now, I'd probably still be out hunting. All my bows and crossbows, my rabbit traps, they've all rusted." Zhang Weidong said with a smile. Actually, I came today to borrow those things from you. Grain yields are low now, and there's not enough to eat. I was thinking of hunting some game to fill our stomachs. I wonder if you'd be willing to lend them to me. If you really do lend them to me, I won't forget your kindness. As long as I can catch 2 rabbits a day, I'll definitely bring one over for you. Hearing this, old Lu burst out laughing. You child, doesn't talking like that make us sound like strangers? Anyway, I have no use for those things anymore. It's just that you're still so young. I'm afraid the people in the village will gossip. Back in the day, it was exactly because I liked hunting that the people in the village looked down on me a bit. Later I got over it. After all, I had rabbit meat to eat, and they didn't, huh? Zhang Weidong also laughed along. After laughing, he said, so that means you're willing to lend me all those things? Old Lu said with a smile. Just take them and use them. There are so many children in your family. So hunting some game to help support the household is a good idea too. If you catch a lot, go sell some and find a way to make money. You don't need to bring any for me either. Zhang Weidong said seriously, you're so sincere. And I can't be insincere either. Don't worry, from now on, you won't go without rabbit and pheasant to eat. Old Lu laughed heartily again. You child, catching these things also depends on luck. Sometimes you hear them moving in the grass nest, but by the time you quietly creep close to them, they've already run off. Zhang Weidong thought to himself. Hee, old man, you don't know that I have X-ray vision. As long as they're hiding in the grass nest, I can spot them from far away. As the two chatted, Lu Rushua stir-fried a plate of sliced pork and brought it over, steaming hot with a spicy, fragrant aroma. Hey, just looking at it was enough to whet one's appetite. Old man Lu said to his daughter, go to the west room, to that black cabinet of ours, under the clothes, and find that half bottle of liquor for me. Also, add one more dish. Daughter, stir-fry a plate of shredded pickled chili. No matter what, we need to make it 2 dishes. Weidong hardly ever comes by. Lu Rushua smiled faintly. Dad, I'm planning to make scrambled eggs with chopped scallions. I've already cracked the eggs into a bowl. Old man Lu glared at his daughter. You child, without my permission, how can you make scrambled eggs with chopped scallions? These eggs still have to be taken to sell. As soon as old man Lu said they had to be sold, he worried that Zhang Weidong would feel awkward hearing it. So he immediately changed from anger to joy and said, good, good, good. Right, then that makes 3 dishes in total. You handled that well. Lu Rushua went over there to get the liquor. Only then did old man Lu come to his senses. What I said just now really came out without thinking. My daughter, most likely, has taken a fancy to that brat Zhang Weidong. Otherwise, why would she have decided on her own to add a dish of scrambled eggs with scallions? Hee. Lu Rushua quickly brought over the half bottle of liquor. Old man Lu took it and poured Zhang Weidong a tea bowl full, then poured one for himself as well. Zhang Weidong picked up the bowl, and a rich aroma of liquor rushed to his nose. Old man Lu chuckled and said, Weidong, try this liquor and see how it is. This is authentic erguo too. Zhang Weidong took a sip and swallowed it. It's really good, even better than the Wulianye I drank in my previous life. Liquor nowadays was all genuine grain liquor. Even if someone wanted to mix in industrial alcohol, there was nowhere to buy it. Lu Rushua brought over the fried eggs. Old man Lu and Zhang Weidong drank and chatted at the same time. Old man Lu picked up a bite of egg, put it in his mouth, and said while eating, Weidong, although there are many tricks to hunting, the most important thing is actually only one thing, ensuring your own safety. I'll give you just one piece of advice. As long as you can do it, everything else is no problem. Zhang Weidong was eager to know what old man Lu's advice was, and he listened attentively. He hurriedly asked, hurry up and tell me, Uncle Lu. Old man Lu smiled mysteriously. As long as you learn to climb trees, climb them quickly, like a monkey, I guarantee that wherever you go hunting, you won't be in danger. Zhang Weidong wanted to laugh when he heard this, but after thinking about it carefully, it really was true. After a moment's thought, Zhang Weidong said, although this advice is simple, it's actually very reasonable. Just like how many animals like to climb trees when they encounter danger. Old man Lu also chuckled. That's right. No matter how skilled a hunter is, if he only knows how to kill prey but doesn't know how to run away, sooner or later he'll encounter danger. So you must first learn to protect yourself before you can become a true hunter. Don't you think what I said is right? The more Zhang Weidong thought about it, the more he felt old man Lu's words made sense. He couldn't help admiring him inwardly. The older generation really is wiser. Great truths are often simple. That saying is indeed true. The two of them finally ate and drank their fill. Old man Lu went to another room and brought back a crossbow and a large bundle of arrows. There were also 2 iron traps, one smaller. and the other very large, with a very thick iron chain on it. Old man Lu clapped his hands, pointed at the things on the ground, and said, "Take all these things with you. Just be careful not to catch yourself when using the iron traps." Old man Lu picked up the smaller iron trap and slowly opened it, saying, "See? When using it, pry it open in this direction, and just be careful with your hand. That big iron trap is used for trapping wild boars, and the way to use it is basically the same. When using it, fasten the iron chain to the nearest tree so that if it catches a wild boar, it won't be able to run away. All right, you'd better also have a hunting dog. I'll give you this little dog from my home. It would go hungry following me anyway. In a bit I'll drive the big dog into that room, and you just hold the little dog and leave quickly." Old Lu handed all the hunting gear over to Zhang Weidong. Then he went into the yard again and drove the big wolf dog into a room. Then he carried the little black dog into the house. He whispered, "Hurry and hold it, pick up the things on the ground, and head home first." Zhang Weidong felt a warm surge in his heart. He took the little black dog from old Lu's hands and said gratefully, "Uncle Lu, you've been so good to me." Old Lu waved his hand indifferently and said, "No need to be polite. I really can't afford to keep this little black dog anymore either." Just like that, Zhang Weidong held the little black dog, carried those hunting tools, and left old Lu's house. He soon arrived at his own home. As soon as he reached the front gate, he heard a burst of shouting and cursing from inside. Zhang Weidong was startled. "Who is this? Who's got the nerve to come to my house and curse people out?" He remembered that in his previous life, his grandmother and aunts often came to bully his mother. Could it be them again today? Thinking of this, Zhang Weidong's blood surged, and he thought, "Damn it, I put up with so much from you in my last life. In this life I absolutely can't keep indulging you. I'm going to live comfortably, and if you provoke me, I'll slap you across the face. As long as my whole family lives happily, that's all that matters." Thinking this, Zhang Weidong ran to the house in a few quick strides. And when he entered the yard, sure enough, it was his grandmother, second aunt, and third aunt. All three were pointing at his mother and cursing her. Zhang Weidong decided to go all in, and immediately shut the front gate and dropped the door bar in place from the inside. He put the things in his hands on the ground and roared, "Are you all fucking tired of living? What gives you the right to come curse out my mother again?" Zhang Weidong's shout gave his two aunts and grandmother a huge scare. All three turned their heads at the same time and looked at Zhang Weidong in alarm. Actually, in his previous life, Zhang Weidong's personality was a bit like his father's, and he usually didn't talk much. When these aunts bullied his mother, he had never really argued or cursed at them, only urged them to leave quickly. Unexpectedly, today this kid started swearing at the top of his lungs. Second aunt had also never thought much of Zhang Weidong. Hearing him curse like that, she immediately snapped back. "Your dad died, so now there's no one to keep you in line. Is that it? Your grandmother is right here. Who are you saying is tired of living?" Zhang Weidong let out a cold laugh, walked up to second aunt, and deliberately said word by word, "Whoever the fuck bullies my mother deserves to die." Zhang Weidong's second aunt's expression changed a little. She thought to herself, this good-for-nothing coward, just like his father, is pretty sharp-tongued. No, if I don't curse him into fear today, won't he be turning the house upside down next? Then our old Zhang family will be run by him. No, today I have to teach him a lesson. Then Zhang Weidong's second aunt cursed, "Zhang Weidong, you ill-bred thing. Is this how you curse your elders? I think the one who deserves to die is you." As soon as Zhang Weidong's mother heard his second aunt curse her son like that, she immediately shot back. "Second aunt, it's one thing for you to curse me, but what right do you have to curse my son? You're the one who deserves to die." Zhang Weidong's second aunt cursed at Zhang Weidong's mother. "Your whole litter. A good-for-nothing who only knows how to eat and drink. Don't even think your son will ever find a wife in this lifetime. With just a dime in hand, you dare to buy meat to eat." Zhang Weidong let out a cold laugh. "What business is it of yours if we eat meat? I'll be able to find a wife in a few days, so you don't need to worry about it. Get lost, and be careful, or I'll slap you." When Zhang Weidong's second aunt heard that Zhang Weidong was going to slap her, she immediately started throwing a tantrum. "Mom, did you hear that? My eldest nephew wants to slap me. Come on, slap me right here, come on." Zhang Weidong's second aunt stuck out her head and shoved it toward Zhang Weidong's chest, disgusting him so much that he kept backing away. As Zhang Weidong backed away, he said, "Second aunt, don't push me. Get lost now, or I'll really slap you." When Zhang Weidong's second aunt saw that Zhang Weidong didn't dare hit her, she became even more emboldened and kept pressing forward against him. She smugly cursed, "You coward. Didn't you say you were going to slap me? Then slap me. Why are you backing away?" Zhang Weidong was almost at the front gate. He said to his grandmother, "Grandma, You have to be my witness. Look at my second aunt like this. She's forcing me. After Zhang Weidong finished speaking, he slapped his second aunt across the face. All that could be heard was Zhang Weidong's second aunt letting out a miserable scream as she covered her face and squatted on the ground.